The chair recognizes the gentleman from Arizona, Mr. O'Halloran, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today in honor of my friend, Congressman Don Young. Don passed away last week while traveling home to Alaska. At the age of 88, he was still traversing this nation to serve his constituents. He stood up for their needs, concerns, and families, both here on the House floor and out in the wild lands of his beloved state. Don was a fierce fighter for Alaska, but he was also a genuine man who worked on both sides of the aisle with members, advocates, and people of all ideologies and backgrounds to improve the lives of the families he represented, never letting Washington politics get in his way. During his decades in Congress, Don advocated for Alaska Native tribes, rural communities, and the success of all Alaska, from its economy to its lands, and the issues everyday families talked about over dinner. Rough around the edges, and at times, that's the way he just wanted to be. That's who he was. Like the vast and wild state he represented, Don was never one to back down from what he believed. Again and again, he put in the work to get things done. Beyond his words, his accomplishments, his work, Don was genuine. All you had to do is go to sit down with him in his office and understand how he had a story for almost everything. From his time on the Yukon River on tugboats, to hunting, to just enjoying life and his family. He was genuine. He was real. And more than anything else, he was my friend. I will miss him deeply. We always miss good people like that. People that really have an impact on our lives personally, on the lives of people that he represented, on the lives of his family. He was a good, real person. Last fall, I shook hands with a friendly wager with Don for Alaska's National Park Fat Bear Week. I had never had that type of a bet with Don before, and I knew not much about bears. We agreed with each other that whichever congressman chose the bear that went further in the annual competition would win a district product from the other's home district. And when my bear won, well, obviously I was surprised. Don told me that I would never have a chance of winning at all because I knew nothing about bears. But I got lucky, and he smiled, as only Don could do. And Don was true to his word. He brought me back a jar of smoked salmon from Alaska. Yesterday, I joined members on both sides of the aisle as we paid our respects to his life and legacy in the Capitol. I could tell a lot of stories about Don, but when I was a freshman here, I went to him and I said, you know, he had this unique ability to work on Native American issues. And I said to him, I have a little bit of a problem here with an issue and trying to find some votes. We sat and talked for a while, and the next thing he knew, he said, give me a few minutes. About 5 minutes later, he came back and he said, well, you've got your votes. Let's get this thing passed. As the Dean of the House, Dan set an example for all of us to follow. Respecting one another, honoring one another, working with one another. I was honored to work across the aisle from him to uplift the tribal communities, our rural communities, and often overlooked states. He was so passionate about rural America. He was so passionate about the quality of life that he had up in Alaska. He went back there each and every time, back and forth, because of his love for his state. Today, my thoughts are with his wife, Annie, his children, and with the state of Alaska, who have lost an advocate and a giant. Thank you, and I yield back.